Here are 5 celebrities that served in the United States Army. What's up, friends? I'm U.S. Army veteran ThatChrisChaos, and in this video I wanted to talk about some celebrities that served in the United States Army. Looking through it, I couldn't find any really young celebrities. Some of the younger celebrities served in things like the Air Force and the Marines, but not really a lot of young celebrities served recently in the Army. Now, there might be the case with like certain sports players like in the NFL or NBA or something like that, but as far as like really actors and big name people that someone would know, I kind of just came across these 5 that I'm going to talk about. Now, some of the common ones that people know about is like Elvis Presley and Jimi Hendrix. Both of them served in the United States Army. But other than those 2 main ones, here are 5 other ones that maybe you didn't know about. Number 5. So before he was the creator of the infamous Playboy magazine, he was serving in the United States Army. Hugh Hefner joined the United States Army right out of high school in 1944 during World War II. His job in the Army was actually an infantry clerk. Now, I don't know if that job has been combined with something else or it's been scrapped completely, but it's not a current job that I know of in the Army. Now, Hugh Hefner was not actually really deployed to a combat zone while he was serving in World War II. He actually just drew cartoons for an Army-run newspaper. Hugh Hefner would then serve 2 years in the Army creating these cartoons and then eventually get out with an honorable discharge. After getting out of the Army, he worked with some newspapers and some magazines, and then 7 years later created Playboy magazine. Number 4. So at one point in time, this guy was known as Private Turode, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, but either way, you probably have no idea who the hell that is. You may know Lawrence Turode as Mr. T. Mr. T actually joined the Army back in the mid-70s as a military police officer. It's hard to find really a lot of information about him being in the Army, including like any pictures really of what he looked like in the Army. One main thing I keep finding when I research some information about him being in the Army is apparently he got in some trouble with an NCO, and as kind of like punishment, the NCO made him go chop down some trees. Well, 3.5 hours later, Mr. T was able to chop down like 70 trees before they just told him to stop, I guess, before he was gonna ruin the forest or something. But then he got out of the Army and tried out for the NFL to try to play for the Green Bay Packers, but due to a knee injury was not able to make the team. He then later became a bouncer, and then in 1983 took on Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3 and later starred in the A-Team. Number 3. So before he was asking people if they feel lucky, Clint Eastwood was drafted into the United States Army in 1951. He was drafted during the Korean War, but got really lucky and ended up getting a job at Fort Ord in California as a swim instructor / lifeguard. So he never had to go off to Vietnam. He got to spend his entire time in the Army doing lifeguard and swim instructor stuff. But apparently there was like some crazy plane crash when he was going home to visit family, and the plane had to land inside the water, and all that really paid off because he was able to like swim like a mile back to shore to, try to get help. But then after serving 2 years in the Army, Clint Eastwood went on to use his GI Bill to study drama, which then of course led him to a career in Western movies, Dirty Harry movies, and of course later earning some Oscars. Number 2. So you probably don't know the story about the troublemaker of Private Marrow, as you may actually know Tracy Marrow, hopefully I'm saying that last name right again, as Ice-T. So he joined the Army in the late 70s as 11 Bravo to help support his girlfriend and their newborn daughter. Now, while in his basic initial infantryman training, he got in some trouble. Him and some other soldiers stole apparently some infantry rug, and while kind of the investigation and stuff was going on with it, he ended up going AWOL, or absent without leave. Now, he was gone for about 2 weeks, and during that time frame the rug was returned, but when he came back he did receive some punishment for being AWOL. But he did receive an Article 15. I don't know all the details of his Article 15, but he did get in trouble and maybe lost some pay, maybe had to do some extra duty. But he was still able to finish his training and then move on to 1-5 Infantry in Hawaii. Now, Ice-T did have a 4-year contract, but he only served a little over 2 years of that contract, as he was able to find out that he could get out early with an honorable discharge because he was a single father. But he got out of the Army in 1979, debuted in a movie in 1984 called Breakin', and then released his first album in 1987. Number 1. So before people were telling him they would like to solve the puzzle, Pat Sajak was actually in the United States Army. So Pat Sajak joined the United States Army in 1968. He was actually trained by the Army to be a clerk typist, but was sent to Vietnam as a finance clerk. But while he was in Vietnam, he was able to transfer to be a disc jockey or a DJ on the Armed Forces radio. This was actually something he did in college, so he had some familiarity with being able to be a DJ on the radio. So he was able to do that for 2 years before getting out in 1970. After getting out of the Army, he worked for several local TV stations, including being a weatherman at one point, and then later moving on to host Wheel of Fortune in the early 80s. So there you go, there are 5 celebrities that I was able to find out that served in the United States Army. I was surprised to hear about some of the stories, especially like Ice-T's trouble in the Army and Pat Sajak being in the Army. But I'd like to hear from you guys down in the comments down below. Tell me about a celebrity that you know about that served in the US military. It doesn't matter if they're in the Army or the Air Force or the Marines or whatever, just let me know about a celebrity that you know about that served in the military. I think it'd be kind of cool, maybe you and me and other people, scrolling through the comments can discover about maybe celebrities we didn't know about that served in the US military. So if you liked that video and found it entertaining, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to check out some of my other videos, YouTube's got a couple right over here that they say are pretty awesome. I agree. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you want to make sure to catch more content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I'm ThatChrisChaos, and I will see you next time. See ya.